A week or so ago, you promised that the Browns were going to win one for your birthday, and they did.
Well, they did. They barely pulled it out over the Bears, didn't they? It was a good little win there, and the Bears went down to defeat. But, hey, can we get a... This is one of the greatest studio audiences I think we've ever had here. How about it? Look at that.
Good group.
Good group. Bunch of nice young people. Got some Boy Scouts over there. Everybody. Get them on TV a little bit there. I want to come out and explain, just take a couple of seconds here to explain where I was last week. You know, I wasn't on the card last Monday night.
True.
As a matter of fact, I'm not on the card again this Monday night, and I want to explain why. Then I'm going to explain. I also brought a little tape along here to show you what a thing that I did. Jeff and I went up and did this past week also, involving a little movie. I was in a movie.
Ooh, all right.
In a movie. I'll show you that in just a second. But first of all, I wanted to say, you know, a few months ago, there was a sort of a challenge issued and a challenge accepted, or at least we thought it was accepted. Jeff Jarrett came out and went. Well, he actually went down to the Pyramid down here when the WWF was in town and bought a ticket, went to the matches. Jeff stood up, got up into the ring, and challenged Bret Hart to a title match, because Jeff was, as I said, you know, he was carrying the banner for the USWA against the WWF, and Bret Hart accepted his challenge, but you see that match never materialized. Bret Hart said that he would come back and wrestle Jeff, but he's never come back and wrestled Jeff. Now, it's true, Vince McMahon and the WWF, I guess they got in contact with Eddie Marlin, and in my opinion, what I think they try to do is sort of just kind of smooth the situation over. They sent some wrestlers in here, like the Bushwhackers and Sergeant Slaughter and a couple of guys like that, but they didn't send anybody in for any title matches. They didn't send anybody in for Jeff to wrestle to try to win the championship. They didn't send anybody in for me to wrestle to try to defend this championship. And last week, there was a match scheduled. Vince McMahon had contacted Eddie Marlin and said, okay, we're going to send you one of our top wrestlers because we want our wrestler to have a shot at the USWA Championship, and Jerry Lawler. And then, you know, I mean, this may all be, it may have really happened, but it seems like it's just a little bit too convenient to me, and especially when I tell you what else has taken place. Last week, on Friday night, the night before the TV show, with the match already booked, when we were ready to come out here and tell you about the WWF wrestler who's going to come down and wrestle me, Eddie gets a call from Vince McMahon and says, well, that guy's injured. He got hurt in a match last night. He's not going to be able to be there Monday night. So what that did right there, and he said, well, can you send a replacement? He said, we don't have anybody else available at this time. So that left me sitting without a match last Monday night. Now, he calls him back earlier this week, said, well, okay, we got this guy. He's well now. He's ready to come back. We'll have him there this Monday night. I get here today, and Eddie Marlin tells me that he gets another call last night from Vince McMahon and says the guy's injured again. So he's not going to be there again this Monday night. And that's why I say these things just look a little too fishy to me. What I think the situation is that the WWF don't want to send anybody down here to challenge for this title, because the fact is they know they don't have anybody up there that can beat me for this belt, because all of the people sit out there, and especially the WWF, all their superstars, they tell everybody how great they are, but when it gets right down to it, they don't want to go against me one-on-one. They don't want to go against the USWA one-on-one, because they are afraid that if we come out on top, then they're going to be sitting there with egg on their face, and they're going to have to eat crow, and they're going to have to admit to everybody that our wrestling right here in Memphis, Tennessee is not just as good, but is better than what they got in the WWF. And that's all I got to say about it. If you got anybody in the WWF that is man enough to face me, get them down here, Vince McMahon, because I'm sick of sitting around and not being wrestling in my own hometown.
Okay, Jerry.
Clear enough. If I'm making that
clear. Absolutely. Before you leave, though, you mentioned something about where you and Jeff were this week.
Okay, that's right. Tuesday, Jeff and I had a real unique opportunity to go. We flew up to Toronto, Canada, and we got, I don't know how big it's going to be. We got a couple of parts in a movie that Walt Disney, that the Disney company is filming. It's going to be a Touchstone picture. And it stars one of the guys that has been in one of the biggest grossing movies of all time, Back to the Future, Michael J. Fox. And I'll tell you what, the scene there's a little scene in there where Jeff and I are wrestling, and Michael J. Fox comes down to the ring. I get to pick him up over my head, spin him around a couple times. I threw him onto Jeff, and then Jeff throws him off onto the mat and out of the ring. So naturally, they had a stunt double that we were going to do this with. But actually, at the end of the day, we were filmed on this thing for about 13 hours. At the end of the day, Michael J. Fox said, "I think I can do that." So we actually did it with Michael. But anyway, I brought along just a little. They told me later after I brought my camera there, they said, "Hey, we don't allow cameras backstage or anything." But anyway, I got a little footage. There's Jeff in the makeup chair. He was getting a little makeup put on. And I'm telling the lady I don't need makeup because I'm going to be wearing a mask in this thing. This guy here, this was Michael J. Fox's stunt double. This is the guy that we wound up throwing around the ring a whole lot. This is a little girl that's in the movie. She thought she was the greatest thing since sliced bread, the little brat. But anyway, no, you got your fill of her real quick. But she was nice. This was just some of the behind-the-scenes stuff there. They are getting ready to shoot some of the scenes. They had the movie cameras there, and they had this arena set up in a big university there. The guy in the green coat with the blue cap is named Mark Lawrence. He wrote Family Ties. He also wrote this movie. The guy that he's directing, that he's talking to there, is the director. And they're getting ready to set up a little scene where out in the audience there are a bunch of kids. Michael J. Fox plays. The name of the movie is Life with Mikey, and Michael J. Fox plays a guy that started as a child actor. See that guy there? They have a stunt double for Michael. They also have a lighting double. That guy sitting back there, he just sort of looks like Michael J. Fox, so he gets to sit around until they get all the lighting done right, and he does all the rehearsals, and then when they get ready to shoot the scene, he gets up out of the chair, and Michael comes in out of the trailer and sits down, and he only has to work for a few seconds, and this guy here. Now here's the little scene with the stunt double up over the head. I throw him onto Jeff, who falls, and then he in turn throws him off of there, and that was the stunt double. What we did later on wind up doing it with Michael J. Fox, and I think I had a little... and then there's the little girl that he brings down. I get to pick her up there, and we sing happy birthday to her after the match. And as I said, this is where they said you're not supposed to have cameras in there. So here we are getting ready to shoot the scene, and there I am with a wrestling mask on. Jeff is over there, and I'm telling Michael J. Fox, I said, "Look, Michael, I got a camera right over here hidden. So if you'll come over and say hi to all the people in Memphis, wave at them." And here said, "There's what I think of Memphis." No, not really. Anyway, that's there we were, just getting ready to shoot the scene with Michael J. Fox, and that'll be coming out sometime this summer, hopefully. But anyway, I won't take up any more of your time. I guess, Corey, do you mind if I come down there and sit with you Monday night at the announcer's table? Because thanks to the WWF, it looks like I'm just going to be watching the matches. But there are going to be some good ones, and I may, just like I did here, I may have to get involved some kind of way. Okay?
All right.
See y'all Monday.
Very good. Thank you.